What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Man, you know what? It was cool today. I was actually on Skywalker Steels watching his feed and things, and somebody commented, looks like Mark is happy to have another day. And it's the truth because, when you start getting to be my age, you start realizing, I'm 56. If I were to live to 100, if I were lucky enough to live to 100, heck, if I'm lucky enough to live to 81, like my mom's birthday yesterday, that would be a blessing. But what you realize is there's a lot more days behind me than I got in front of me. And so you start appreciating those days. So every day I try and pack as much in as I can. I'm up this morning, I'm taking care of my man Black Star Sports, getting his piece put together. I'm working on Molly Green's piece right there. I'm working on my man who's got the dog with, the dog picture. You see, I got paint all over it. And I'm working on the Dak Prescott piece to send to Dak. And actually, when you're Dak Prescott, you get a little bit extra. I'm thinking about actually epoxy resining his piece so that way it is like, primo. Okay, it's just one of those things. When you're famous, everybody wants to do a little extra for you. It's just the way it is. But anyway, the Dallas Cowboys apparently are one of many teams that have actually reached out to talk to the Texans about the much-traveled Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has been over quite a few places. He's 28 years old. Let me go to a statistic here because here's what's interesting to me. I'm not, excuse me, not gonna. Whoa, I'm not gonna choke on my words here. Brandon Cooks is a good receiver because Brandon Cooks, throughout his career, his rookie year with New Orleans Saints had 550 yards. The next year with New Orleans had 1,138 yards, 9 TDs. That's not bad at all. That's actually damn good. New Orleans next year, 1,173 yards, 15-yard average, 8 TDs. The year after that, he went to New England. And you have to look at this and say, that's actually one of the big numbers for wide receivers for New England. He had 1,082 yards, well, on an offense that truly spreads the ball around. So, when you're in New England, you got to deal with having Gronk and all these other people, guys, Wes Welkers and things like that. So you don't see huge numbers from receivers. You see a lot of passing yards, but the thing that's great about them is they distribute the ball to where it's more likely to be a successful play. And that's why sometimes you see guys with great numbers, but the problem is they don't necessarily win enough. And see, the key in football is balance. He went to the Rams, again, 1,204 yards, 5 TDs. You can see the production that's there. The next year with the Rams, went downhill, 583 yards, 2 TDs, played in 14 games. I'm not sure if he was injured that year or not. But then went to the Houston Texans, and ended up having 1,150 yards, 6 TDs, 1037, 6 TDs. So clearly productive. In fact, more productive than Amari Cooper was this past year. So the Cowboys are interested in, they picked up the phone, they've given him a call, in trading for him. Now, if the Cowboys were lucky enough that, they could get a deal kind of like the deal that they ended up using for Amari Cooper, and this is one of those opportunities where the Cowboys could just really look stupid, that if they ended up trading, say, Amari Cooper and only got a fifth, and turn around and have to give up, say, a second to get Brandon Cooks, are we then going to say that that in their eyes, that Brandon Cooks is that much more valuable than Amari Cooper? Because that's what it says. If you were willing to give up, say, a second-round draft pick, I'm just saying hypothetically, because that's what we've heard, that Houston is looking at getting a second-round pick. And remember, a second-round pick is not equal on every team. Let me see what teams that they have. Hang on here. I'm just getting this. So you have the Cowboys, the Packers, the Jets, the Rams, and Raiders have previously called Oh, wait, sources. Hold. Let me read this. Let me make sure I get it right. Cowboys, Packers, and Jets have all called Texans about Brandon Cooks. So, if it's a matter of the Cowboys pick or the Packers pick, the Cowboys pick is a lot more valuable. It's number 2. If it's the Jets number 2, and I believe they have multiples, both of their picks are going to be better than the Cowboys one. So the Cowboys, in order to compete with the Jets, if it is a second round compensation, would probably have to give up a second pick. So, or a number 1 to get ahead of what the Jets could previously give. I mean, if you are the Jets, and I don't know if there's a no trade clause in his contract, but since he's been traded so many times, I mean, damn. Who knows? For me, now let me say this. The thing that doesn't make sense to me is the fact that the Cowboys got rid of one wide receiver and let the other one go. I can understand that if there was a problem with Amari Cooper, and clearly there was a problem of something that the Cowboys did not like about Amari Cooper, where they say we're better off taking a loss on him of $6 million in a cap hit instead of restructuring him and getting not enough compensation. Clearly there had to be something more than what we are privy to on that they would just basically fire sale him. And then to turn around and say, let's go get a guy who's a little bit older than Amari Cooper and possibly give up more compensation to get him. I get that. The one that doesn't make sense to me, though, is Cedric Wilson. You could make the argument that the numbers that Cedric Wilson was getting in limited time when Michael Gallup was out was kind of like production that you were getting from Michael Gallup. In fact, while I'm sitting here, let me look up the stats for 2021, and I'll give you the exact number here, because this is where you could say, you know what, we can go ahead and pay Cedric Wilson and have him there, a guy who knows the system and so on. So as we go through here, rushing and receiving, Cedric Wilson, total yard, let's see, wide receiver, rushing, we're not looking at rushing. Cedric Wilson had, believe it or not, 602 yards receiving, okay? Averaged 13.4 yards per catch. Catch percentage was 73.8. Now let's go to Michael Gallup. Now remember, Michael Gallup, of course, was injured most of the season, had 445 yards, right? 12.7 yards per completion compared to 13.4 for Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson was actually averaging more yards per completion than Michael Gallup. Cedric Wilson, 6 TDs, Michael Gallup only 4. Michael Gallup's catch percentage, 56.5 to 75 for Cedric Wilson. And yards per target, Cedric Wilson was 9.9 versus 7.2. So, in my mind, if you were willing to pay Michael Gallup, you know, the $10 million per year contract, how come you didn't look at Cedric Wilson and say 7 is okay for him? Because you could say, arguably, maybe he's as good and cheaper, and you didn't have to give up a draft pick to get him. I'm not saying that, and don't get me wrong, Brandon Cooks is truly a lot better than Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson is a lot younger, already in your system, and will probably be cheaper. Just saying. So we'll see what happens with any of this. See if, you know, we're always linked to people. Usually it doesn't ever work out, since we only signed 2 players that are outside of our wheelhouse and hadn't heard that anybody else wanted them. That's just the way it goes. All right. Got to get back out here to the shop. Check on my stuff. Peace.